All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive, the place where we analyze the source material to give you the knowledge you need without all the overload.
Today we are strapping in for a really critical topic.
We are. We're doing a deep dive into one of the, I think, most terrifying dangers on the road. Intersection side collisions.
T-bones.
T-bones. And they are, pretty much universally rated as among the most severe crashes you can possibly experience.
And that severity isn't an accident. I mean, unlike a frontal collision where you have, feet of steel and crumple zones designed to absorb energy,
Right.
a side impact hits the vehicle at its absolute weakest point, usually the B-pillar, right where the passenger is sitting.
And it all happens in, what, less than a second?
A split second. There's basically zero time for drivers to react defensively once it starts.
Exactly. So our mission today is, I think, really crucial. We need to go beyond just saying intersections are dangerous. We want to unpack the hidden mechanics of why cars entering from side roads are such a threat. And, most importantly, give you some practical, actionable defensive strategies.
Because the core insight from all the sources we looked at is that drivers have this powerful tendency to just focus straight ahead.
That tunnel vision.
That tunnel vision, yeah. It leaves cross-traffic totally overlooked until it's way too late.
So you're saying we sort of trust that everyone's following the rules?
We do. We rely way too heavily on our presumed right-of-way and just underestimate the threat, and we have to override that complacency.
Okay, so true safety is more than just following the law.
It's about aggressive defensive preparation, learning how to adjust your speed, improve your line of sight, and, position your vehicle strategically. That's the key to intersection survival.
Okay, let's jump right into the high stakes. Why are these side impacts so brutal? You mentioned the structural weakness.
Well, the core danger is just the suddenness of it all. The sources are really clear that the risk doesn't climb slowly. It just skyrockets when you get a mix of a few things.
Like what?
Like obstructed views, a bad judgment call from the driver on the side road, or even just a moment of distraction from the driver on the main road.
So it's not a gradual problem, it's a binary event.
Exactly. Either nothing happens or a severe accident happens instantly.
And this brings us to what I think is the most foundational concept from all the research. I think it's a total game changer for defensive driving. It's this idea of the oblivious assumption.
It's absolutely key. The oblivious assumption is that fatal mistake we make when we assume that just because we're in full view,
That we've been seen by other drivers.
Precisely. We operate thinking everyone sees us and will follow the rules, but when we do that, we're basically handing control of our own safety to a stranger.
And that stranger's attention level could be zero. They could be on their phone, dealing with a kid.
We're just lost in thought.
That's a powerful idea. So if we can't assume we've been seen, we have to change what we look for, right? It's not about trying to make eye contact.
No, eye contact is often impossible to confirm. This is where the analysis gets really useful. You have to look for positive confirmation of their behavior.
What does that mean, positive confirmation?
Don't look for a head turn. Look for tire movement. Are their front wheels turning out, even a little bit? Is the body of the car creeping forward?
So you have to assume they haven't seen you until you see definitive proof.
Yes. Proof that they are actually braking or turning their wheels away from you. If they're just creaking forward, that's not proof.
That just means they're looking for a gap.
Exactly. They're searching for a gap in traffic, not necessarily yielding to you.
Wow, that's a huge distinction. So you have to drive as if you're invisible.
Until you confirm that positive action. The whole solution here is to override that expectation of order. Stay alert, anticipate the mistake, and you'll be less likely to get caught off guard.
Okay, so to defend against this, we really need to get inside the head of the driver who's doing the entering. We have to predict their mistakes.
Right. And the first major risk category is just classic misjudgment.
Underestimating things.
Totally. Drivers pulling out from a stop sign are terrible at judging the speed of oncoming traffic. The data actually calls it speed misjudgment.
And I guess we see speed differently when we're stopped versus when we're moving.
We do. A car coming at you at 45 miles an hour might look like it's doing 30. And that tiny miscalculation just eats up the entire margin for error.
And that misjudgment of speed, plus maybe distance, leads to them pulling out too slowly or hesitantly.
Right, and that forces drivers on the main road to slam on their brakes or swerve.
Then you have the most obvious threat, which is just a failure to yield.
Yeah, the behavioral problem. The driver just blows through the stop or yield sign or just doesn't respect the right-of-way. This is a direct path to a side impact collision.
And this often comes from trying to squeeze into a gap that's way too small.
It's impatience. They see a small break in heavy traffic and they just assume they can force their way in, thinking you'll slow down for them.
This impatience brings us to this fascinating psychological profile the sources talked about, the hasty driver.
Ah,
We always think about speeding as the big risk, but what about the driver who's so rushed or nervous that they just become completely unpredictable?
the hasty driver is a huge problem. This is someone who's willing to skip normal precautions just to get onto that main road now.
And that haste shows up in a few different ways, right?
A few critical ways. For example, they might pull out too slowly because they're both rushed and unsure, so they end up spending way too much time in the flow of traffic.
Well, the opposite.
Or they pull out way too quickly and risk losing control.
I think the worst one for us to anticipate, though, is the sudden stop.
The sudden stop is terrifying. They pull out, realize they've messed up the gap, and just slam on the brakes out of pure uncertainty.
Right in the middle of the lane.
Right in the middle. And that one moment of hesitation throws off the entire traffic pattern and dramatically increases the time they spend in that conflict zone.
Speaking of uncertainty, let's move on to the visibility trap. Because if you can't see the car, and they can't see you, that oblivious assumption becomes a guaranteed collision.
Precisely. Poor visibility just fundamentally changes the entire game. It massively increases accident risk because you can't see other cars, you can't see signals, you can't see signs.
So your reaction distance needs to go up, but your actual sight distance is shrinking.
Exactly. And it's not just about weather. We have huge physical obstructions.
Trees, buildings, signs.
But the sources specifically call out parked or large vehicles. They are probably the most dangerous and common cause of blocking visibility at intersections.
Absolutely. You see it all the time. You're coming up to an intersection, and there's a big delivery truck or a line of SUVs parked right on the corner.
And that creates what the research calls narrow vision. These things create a moving conflict zone. If you, on the main road, can't see past that truck,
You have to assume a car is hidden there.
you have to. Because neither of you has a clear line of sight until the very last second, which, if you're moving at any kind of speed, is already too late.
It's the psychological trick, too. You're scanning ahead, but the danger doesn't come from where you expect. It just pops out from behind a parked van.
And that last moment is everything. The driver on the side road is usually creeping forward just an inch at a time, trying to see.
So the only visibility they have is the tiny gap between their bumper and the edge of the parked truck.
Right. And by the time they clear that obstruction and actually see you, they might have already committed to pulling out.
And then on top of that, we layer the environmental stuff. Fog, heavy rain, snow.
And that low-angle sun glare, sunrise or sunset, it's notorious for turning an intersection into a totally blinding hazard.
So the consequences just stack up. Late detection means less reaction time.
And it gets harder to judge distance and speed accurately through rain or glare.
Something I hadn't thought about is communication. It becomes really hard to see someone's brake lights or turn signals.
For sure. And the risk to, vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, it just goes through the roof. They're often hidden in all that visual clutter.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about speed. The sources make it so clear that speed is the great risk multiplier. It turns a manageable situation into a catastrophe.
It's just pure physics. The faster you go, the less time you have to perceive and react to a sudden threat like a car pulling out.
And your stopping distance just balloons.
It more than doubles if you double your speed. That little bit of speed you shave off before an intersection is the single biggest safety buffer you can create for yourself.
And when it comes to the severity of the crash itself, the force of impact goes up exponentially with speed. This is where the physics of a T-bone get really grim.
They do. A car hitting the side of your vehicle at, say, 20 miles per hour is bad. But if that same car hits you at 40 miles per hour...
It's not just twice the force.
No, it's closer to 4 times the force. And because the side of a car has so little structure to protect you, that exponential jump in energy guarantees much more severe injuries. It makes it a truly life-threatening event.
And there's a physiological effect on the driver too, isn't there?
Yes, high speed can narrow your field of vision. It causes what people call tunnel vision.
So you're focusing so hard on what's way down the road
that you completely miss the important cues in your periphery, like a pedestrian stepping off the curb or a car slowly creeping out from a side street. Your brain just filters it out.
So it's a feedback loop. High speed makes you focus straight ahead, which causes you to miss the very hazard that high speed makes it impossible to avoid.
That's a perfect way to put it. And we can't forget how speed interacts with the road conditions.
Right. Slippery roads.
Our research was very clear on this. When it's slippery ice, rain, whatever vehicles trying to enter the main road can actually overshoot the intersection.
So you hit the brakes at the stop sign, but just slide right out into your path.
Exactly. You could be in complete control on the main road, but the other car simply can't stop before entering your lane.
And we should probably reiterate the other danger, which is crossing an intersection at an abnormally slow speed.
Yes. You don't want to be too fast, but being excessively slow is also a problem. It just increases the amount of time you are physically exposed to the threat.
You become a sitting duck.
You do. Crossing a 4-lane highway at 5 miles per hour means you're in the danger zone for several seconds, which is an eternity in traffic. You need to maintain momentum, but only after you have full certainty and a safe gap.
Okay, now for the most crucial part, the defensive driving strategies. If you're the one on the main road, what do you do to fight back against the oblivious driver, the hasty driver, and the visibility trap?
First and foremost, it's situational awareness and just relentless anticipation.
What does that look like in practice?
You have to train yourself to be alert, especially when you see any break in the sidewalk or median. That means checking mirrors, scanning ahead, scanning to the sides. It's not passive looking, it's an active search for danger.
And the mental trick here is anticipation. You have to assume the car on the side road will pull out.
You have to, even if they have a stop sign. You have to anticipate the mistake because your life could depend on it. Be prepared to yield, even when you have the right of way.
Giving up a few seconds is better than getting in a collision.
Infinitely better. And that leads right into managing your speed. It's your #1 defensive tool.
Slow down near any intersection.
Especially if visibility is bad because of parked cars or weather. Just dropping from 40 to 30 gives you so much more reaction time. And also, maintain a safe following distance.
So if the car in front of you slams on their brakes for someone, you don't rear-end them.
And create a pileup, exactly.
I often hear the advice to cover the brake. Does the research actually support that?
It absolutely does. The research confirms that just lifting your foot off the gas and hovering it over the brake can shave crucial fractions of a second off your reaction time.
And that translates to real-world stopping distance.
Several feet at speed. When you see a blind intersection, cover the brake. You are mentally preparing yourself for an immediate stop.
Okay, what about communication and making yourself seen?
It's all about visibility. Use your headlights. Even in broad daylight, it makes you impossible to miss. Always use your turn signals.
And I've heard about offsetting your position in the lane.
Yeah, if you're approaching a blind intersection, moving your car a little bit away from that side road might just give you an extra foot or two of sightline around a parked truck.
What about the horn?
Well, you should always reserve it for a real emergency. But if you see a car clearly creeping into your lane and you need to get their attention now, you have to use it. It's a critical split-second tool.
And finally, we have to remember the vulnerable road users.
We do. We get so focused on the other cars that we forget about pedestrians or cyclists who might be crossing. And because they're smaller, they're even harder to see when views are blocked.
So assume there's a pedestrian in that crosswalk you can't see.
Assume the worst. Always.
So to summarize this whole deep dive, it seems like safety at intersections comes down to rejecting that oblivious assumption, managing your speed, and just proactively looking for the mistakes of the hasty driver.
The stakes are just too high to rely on luck or the law. Failing to yield leads directly to these awful T-bone collisions, which cause severe injuries because there's just no protection on the side of a car.
And beyond the physical pain, the person who failed to yield is almost always found at fault, legally.
Which means life-altering liability, huge insurance problems, and massive traffic delays that affect the entire community.
This has been a really crucial deep dive, recognizing the danger before it ever becomes a reality. Now, let's leave you with a final provocative thought to consider. We learned that the critical moment happens when sightlines are blocked and speed is high. So, given that slippery road conditions don't just affect you, but also make it more likely that side road vehicles will overshoot the intersection and slide into your path, how does realizing this fundamentally change your immediate action when you simply see the sign for an upcoming side road, regardless of whether you have the right-of-way?
The key is preparation.
Think about that until our next deep dive. Stay safe out there.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.